The Unite Homeschool Network is excited to host the Anim course on our show today. Thank you for Chad and Kayla Stewart for coming on today and helping us to understand more about the world of animation. Hi, we are excited to be here today learning about the animation course with Chad and Kayla Stewart. And Chad, I'm just going to have you start us off. Why don't you share a little bit about the background and your work history?
Hi, Angela. Hi, everybody. Thanks for having us here. Yes, so I have been in animation now for about 34 years. Before that, I was just a kid who liked to draw cartoons and create his own stories and characters, and it sounded like a really fun job to be a Disney animator. So I got my first animation job in 1990, in the summer of 1990, working on backgrounds for the second season of The Simpsons, and then worked in hand-drawn animation for 10 years. Went to Disney in 96, animating on Tarzan and Fantasia 2000 and Emperor's New Groove.
Get them!
Hey, I've been turned into a cow. Can I go home?
You're excused. Anyone else?
No, we're good. We're good.
Get them!
And then as hand-drawn animation began to fade in its popularity and computer animation was really taking off, I went over to Sony Pictures ImageWorks, which was a studio that was really starting to grow in the world of visual effects. And I became a lead animator on Stuart Little 2. I learned how to animate on the computer, was a lead animator on The Polar Express, and then was an animator on Open Season and an animation supervisor on Surf's Up. And my claim to fame is I animated all of Chicken Joe's surfing, and Chicken Joe literally won the most interesting surfer of 2007 in Surfer magazine. So I like to tell my students that. And then I worked in pre-production and development, prototyping movies for Sony for a little while. And then my wife Kayla and I moved up to just north of Spokane, Washington, where we are today. And I've been freelancing, going back and forth, doing, still working in movies, but working commercials. I've done work for the U.S. Army and for Outback Steakhouse and the Seattle Sounders. And then my wife had this wonderful idea in the end of 2014, about the animation course. And that's when we got started with this, thinking it might be just sort of a side gig, but it's really taken off.
That's great. Wow. I've heard of most of those movies, so that's really impressive.
Oh, thank you.
So Kayla, why don't you share a little bit? I believe you're a homeschool mom. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah. We homeschooled our 8 kids. And when our youngest group, I guess, was in high school, junior high school, I realized we were just getting, no matter where we lived, we were getting so many questions about animation and how our friends' kids could learn from Chad and what he has experienced, what he does, how to get started. And so we just came up with this idea. And it was just something we threw out to the homeschool world and to our friends. And within a couple weeks, we had 60 students. And he had his full-time job at Sony and then was doing this. And then it grew so fast, he literally had to quit his job so that he could do this full time, because there was just such a desire for people to learn. And then he ended up creating the course that has multiple levels and then included drawing. So students have a way to incorporate a year and a half to 2 years, even more, in their schooling journey to take our classes. And then even to go on to college. We've had students who've gotten an internship at Pixar. They've gone on to animation colleges and gotten jobs. So that's been a fun part. We've been doing this long enough now that we've gotten to follow and be a part of these homeschool families and their journeys, and what just how this has enriched their kids, brought confidence with the comments we get from moms and dads. Just, it's been really fun for us to partner with other families.
That's really great. Awesome. So Chad, tell me more about the course and how kids, what age would you say is best to start with this?
So, it's interesting. So we teach anywhere from 11 to 18 are live courses, and there's some exceptions we've had on either side of that, depending upon the circumstances. We do have kind of a introductory course for younger students. We call Flipbook Fun Pack. So that's from about 8 years old up, that if you have paper and pencil and a way to watch the videos, then you can start to kind of almost like a color by numbers approach to animation, because it gets a little bit more complicated and complex when you get into software and technology and all of those things. So, but the heart of our courses is for junior high and high school. And it really does depend upon the student. We have some junior high students who are so focused in and so comfortable with the technology that they're much more advanced than some of our high school students who are just starting to explore animation as a potential career path. So we try to hit students where they are. But our real goal, when I started, I had seen a family friend. They had a son who was around 13, and he loved animation and he loved technology and film, and he would make his own films and he would show them to me. And I would realize that with just a little bit of help, he could make a much more accessible film to the public. Because a lot of times what I would see would be pretty impressive, but he didn't understand certain aspects of editing or filmmaking or storytelling, even animation. And I thought, wouldn't that be cool if I could help him to have a little bit more of the understanding and the experience to be able to make his own films. So that became kind of the driving force, which was a real driving force at CalArts, where I went to school, was to be able to give the overall kind of finger painting approach to, here are all the different parts: animation, storytelling, writing, storyboarding, cinematography, editing, sound design. There's so many different parts to make a film. And so we have 4 initial levels of animation that work through these different stages and give the students the ability, by the end of level 4, that they are making their own film and they're telling their own story. And then we have 2 drawing courses. One that is a basic drawing fundamentals course about perspective and positive and negative space, basic drawing skills. And the other one is drawing for animation, specifically drawing characters, how to design characters. So all of these things together are really given this, kind of twofold approach of exposing a student to all the different parts that might then be a career path for them in a studio, because plenty of people work in animation studios that don't animate. They design, or they work with technology, or they crunch numbers and keep people on schedule. And so to give an overview of all of those things for the students, and then also more importantly for me is to help them to make their own films. And we've had students then enter their films into festivals all over the world. They've won awards. They've had their films shown on streaming services to hundreds of thousands of people. They have used these films as the kind of the heart of their college portfolio. And then we have one final class when a student gets through all of these courses and they still may be 15 years old and say, well, this is what I want to do. I don't do soccer or I don't do dance. This is my thing. We call it CAT, Continued Animation Training. And that's a more customizable approach where they can come in and either make more films. We have some students that collaboratively work on films. And then we have some students who just work on a specific task, like building a portfolio or becoming a better designer or something like that. So that that course is repeatable. And so some students will take that course 5-6 times over the course of finishing up their high school career and getting themselves ready for a good college animation program.
That's great. Yeah.
Okay. So so this is our register page, and it's got all of our different courses. And then this is our Flipbook Fun Pack area. So you can either purchase with just the videos here, but we also have an actual box set, because I always thought it would be cool if I was a kid. This is kind of how I approach when I come up with something, is what would I really have enjoyed as a young student, as a kid, getting my hands on, because I loved animation so much, but there weren't really that many opportunities to learn about it. So this is our box set that comes with sketchbooks, pencils, pencil sharpeners, erasers, and then you also get a little card with a scratcher that gives you the discount code to be able to go online and register for the videos. So it's really everything you need in the box to be able to do all the projects for the course. So that's our Flipbook Fun Pack, and Kayla is really great with helping people and getting them set up for that.
That's great. Yeah. I can imagine that there are a lot of kids, kind of that 8 to 11-year-old, that if they love drawing, this would be a great opportunity for them to get more exposure and more, just more excitement about it. So that's cool.
Yeah.
Good. And so your 12-year-olds, you said 11 and up, they have another course that they can go into that's more in depth?
Yeah. So then you get into our live animation and drawing courses. And so a lot of students will start off with the drawing courses first and feel like they can kind of improve their drawing skills a little bit, but it's not necessary. Plenty of people start with our level 1 Principles of Animation course. And this course is really kind of based on, it's a live course, 1 hour a week. You can also take it via recordings if you can't meet at the live time, because we have it at different times during the week. And so we try to keep the class sizes between 25 and 30 students. And then I teach the class, and the 1 hour a week live class. And it's based on the 12 principles of animation, which were written out in a book called The Illusion of Life by Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnston. And Frank and Ollie, as they're known, were two of the original animators in the 30s, 40s, 50s, on through the 80s at Disney. And they worked on all of the real classic Disney films, really helped build the style of animation. When they retired in the 80s, they wrote this book called The Illusion of Life, and in it wrote down for the first time these 12 principles of animation. And these principles apply to movement, to acting and performance, to drawing, that really make up a good character animator. A character animator, we're trying to do so much more than just draw. We're trying to convince an audience that a set of moving images is actually a living, breathing character who has emotions and feelings that we can sympathize with and we can root for. And that's really what we're teaching in our course. So we do teach some software, because animation you can do in CG animation, you can do in hand-drawn animation, you can do in stop motion. And our students are allowed to work in whatever style that they would like. So we have plenty of students that do hand-drawn animation. We have some that do computer animation and some that even do stop motion Lego. We have people that work on paper. And so we try to keep that open-ended and really focus on these principles that that have been around since the 1930s and still exist today. So that's really where you start, and then we get into the second level, which is going to be what we call body mechanics and physics. So we get more into the science of movement, how the different bodies, animal body versus a bipedal or a human body work. And then we get into acting and emotion, how you can convince an audience that a character's thinking, and body language, how that affects your performance, and movement, how it's going to affect the different characters' movement. And then level 3 and level 4 are kind of advanced classes, starting to get into the world of advanced class, where level 3 is all about telling a story. How do you make a story? What are the what's the structure of a story? What are the key elements of a story? And this is really where I think, when I think about my our family friend, where it was really important for him to start to learn about storytelling and how to communicate a theme and an idea. And by the end of this class, a student will have what we call a story reel, or sometimes called an animatic, which is a video of their story with the sound recorded. And instead of the finished animation, they have story panels like you see here, storyboards. And this becomes the foundation for telling or making a short film. So then they take that story that they've created in level 3 and they go into level 4. And then we teach the studio process of what we call production. So what are the different things how do we break it apart into pieces? How do we create shots? How do we create schedules? And really concentrate on helping them to produce their own film, which means to make and animate their own film. So many students will finish their film in level 4, but many won't and will continue on. But the goal is to give them the tools to be able to do it on their own. And at this point, we thought, well, this will be great. We'll send them off. They can keep making their own films. And after we had done a couple of sessions, people came back to us and said, well, we'd really like more training. And that's when we came up with our CAT course, our continual animation training course, which allows them to customize, to keep working on a film, to work on the different pieces, or to work together and make a collaborative film, much more like a studio film would be made, with lots of people being involved. So those are our animation courses. They're all 1 hour a week, live, and then all of the assignments are graded by industry professionals. I grade the advanced classes, but the level 1 and level 2, we have a collection of wonderful working professionals who are working in the industry right now, and they love working with our students and helping them to grow. So every time a student will turn in an assignment, they will get a video review of their work, which is going to be a video of our grader looking at their animation, drawing over their animation, showing them how they can improve it. And all of our assignments are set up in the animation courses with multiple turn-ins, so that they can get that feedback and apply it to their work and improve their work, and then turn it in again. And then that's when we have the students show all their work to their class.
That's really good. Yeah, I know a couple of my kids that I know would probably really enjoy taking this class, and just being able to break free of feeling like they're not good enough at something, right? And I think
Yeah.
that that's a really great opportunity for our more creative children to find an outlet for that creativity and to be encouraged in something that they love. So that's great.
Yeah. And we really, the graders and myself, we try right from the beginning to tell them, those films that you see, that you love and inspire you, those people that made them, that there were hundreds of people that were making this film, and they've spent decades of their life devoting themselves to this art form. It is a really difficult art form, but it's super fun. And if you take the pressure off of your shoulders, none of us expect you to be able to just jump and leapfrog up to Pixar's level. Like, that just doesn't happen. So to be able to explore, and I use these terms like color by numbers and finger paint, because that's really how we want them to approach this. Is it's really fun to make something move and come to life, and then to be able to say, okay, here's where I'm at. How can I improve? A little bit at a time. And if you enjoy this process, then you keep practicing and improving. There is absolutely no reason you can't succeed, because all of us that work in the industry, we were all in your same spot. Like, we were all that kid who liked to draw all the time and loved these cartoons. And so we just want to be able to help let you explore and let you develop as at your own pace.
Fantastic. All right. Well, so if somebody had a question for you, how would the best way for them to reach out be?
I tend to be the first line of communication. And so I love receiving phone calls. A lot of times that is something that can answer a lot of questions in real time. And my phone number, should I just give it?
Sure.
Okay,
That's fine.
It's fine with me. 661-755-5775. Or you can contact us through the website, and that goes straight to my email. There's a contact form, but my email is Kayla. You can see it on the screen, at theanimcourse.com, which is our website. THEANIM course.com. So that's the best way to begin that communication. For specific questions that you might have after watching the podcast or any time throughout the session, we make once you are a student in our classes, a family might have a question about technical help. They have to go to Chad, because I'm not going to be the one to help with that, but I can help with a lot of class setup and registration and things like that.
That's great. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for your time today. It's been a really great pleasure to learn more about this animation course, and I'm sure that a lot more homeschoolers are going to be really excited for this opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity.
Thanks for having us.
Mm-hmm.
The Unite Homeschool Network is extremely thankful to fantastic sponsors like the animation course. Thank you for Chad and Kayla for coming on today to explain to us how their course works and to show us more and more about animation and how it can help encourage our homeschool students. For more information or to register for any of the courses that Chad has shown today, please visit them online at theanimcourse.com. That's theanimcourse.com.